welcome to Post Apocalyptic Show. Rob?
John?
We did it.
We
December 1980.
Reached the end.
End of movies that neither of us had really heard of, except I think I'd heard of The Apple.
Right. I don't think I've heard of any of these. No, I haven't.
Okay. Also, all theatrically released movies, we did it. We got from January a movie each month, and we did it, and we're going to grand finale with a Dick Donner film.
Dick Donner, I mean, talk about 80s.
Yeah, he is king of the 80s, or one of the kings of the 80s, with Inside Moves.
You know, the big movie Inside Moves?
You know, he's coming off of Superman, and he's like, what do you want to do? Inside Moves. After I got fired from Superman 2.
Yeah.
So this is the movie Dick Donner chose to do because he was fired from Superman 2.
Get the bad taste out of his mouth?
Yeah, it's like, you know
Being
what?
Fired?
You know what? I'm not going to do superhero movies. Inside Moves.
I'm going to do something personal, like a pet project.
Oh yeah, this is my passion project, which I think he just chose to do.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't like, finally I can do my small film. I think it was like, we got.
Yeah. Insert director here.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
you know they probably had someone that's like, Dick's interested. That poor guy's like, hey,
exactly.
once you direct a Superman, you can do this.
Yeah, and then that person who got fired did New Year's Evil. So
Yeah, did New Year's Evil. It's like, look, we have 2 months for this thing to come out. That was our other choice, was New Year's Evil, which would have been an official 80s film, shot 2 months before release.
2 months. This is unprecedented.
Especially at that time, though.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, so that's released December 19th, shot, and according to the trivia, October 15th. So,
I mean, to shoot it and edit.
I mean, that's film processing,
Yeah.
that's film editing. And to get I mean, we saw the trailer.
Yeah.
It's not like it was, I mean, I'm sure it was a lot of 2 takes and done.
Right.
But I mean, that's impressive.
No, absolutely. To get it out, it's like you shoot in October, we got a release date.
Yeah.
December. Oh, 81? No.
That's the
2
small.
months.
That's the small films there. Like this movie, from what I've read, it was like filmed at the end of '79, and still.
Yeah.
And this is a talkie film from the trailer. These are just people sitting around talking. I think. I don't know. So let's show our inside moves. Watch a movie and then talk about it.
All right.
Inside moves. Dick Donner, December 1980. We did it.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly, John. We'll see. All right, John. We did it.
We did it. We made it. We made it through.
Made it through the 80s of movies that might have slipped through the crack, and we ended on a Dick Donner movie.
Yeah, we did. I guess, we did.
It was directed by Richard Donner.
That's confirmed. Wow.
This was, and cheers to us and High West for making us, making this a little more tolerable.
Yes. Whew. That was...
Oh my God. I don't think there's enough of that, but
Right.
Alright. Trying to figure out this movie.
Yeah.
So is this the best sports movie we've seen this year?
Put it that way.
Yeah.
It was a sports movie. I guess.
Oh, I guess. All right. So, Dick Donner directed, Valerie Curtis and Barry Levinson written, based on a book by Todd Walton. Mm-hmm. I would sum up what the movie is, but I honestly no idea what this movie is about. We don't learn anything from any of the characters. I don't know who the main character is. I don't know whose side we're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
All I know is everyone hangs out in a bar called Max's Bar. That's it. I mean, that's literally about all I got out of this movie.
I know. Everyone's crippled.
Yeah.
I guess you maybe have to be
Yeah.
in.
Well, I mean, we do open up with Rory killing himself, or trying to kill himself.
Right.
Which we sort of find out why at the very end.
Yeah.
Like, he just did it for no reason, because he felt nothing.
Yeah, he felt like he was nothing. I mean, the fact that he, first of all, survived was...
Right.
I was thinking, oh, wow, they're doing it. They're just killing off the main person.
Or do that thing where they go 6 months earlier,
Yeah, exactly. But he survived, and he's
Yeah.
like I guess something's happened with his body. He's limp, and he's sort of tilted to the side. But then he goes into this bar. I guess he knows that that's where he needs to go now, because if you're crippled, you go to this bar.
And then you buy it.
Yeah.
3.5 hours later, or 20 minutes later. This was the longest hour 50-minute movie. And we've sat through some long movies, but this one...
Yeah, because you just didn't know what was going on at any point. You didn't know the time. Time was just...
It's like it was like a month would pass, a day would pass, and then...
I know. It was... it was hard to make heads or tails of like really anything, anyone's story. Certain moments would turn on a dime. It was... just reading that trivia about the fact that he just wanted to... wash his palate from the Superman 2 firing.
Right.
It's just like he didn't really... I mean, it's a movie, but he just really didn't put any sort of time into like making a cohesive story, or a story that really sort of made sense, in the sense of like, I don't really know what's going on, what we're supposed to focus on in this story. I don't know, like the development of the characters.
And that's the thing. It's once again the one thing that's been the good thread almost the whole time. Don't answer the phone, barring, of course.
Yeah.
Acting, like everyone in it's really good.
Yeah.
Like I mean, some of them are cheesy. Some of this is Stinky and Wings and all those characters. They're just. I mean, they're basically just.
Yeah.
Background players. I mean, they're good, but they're exactly what you want in that role. But John Savage, David Morse, like they're really, really good. I mean, the girl who came in halfway or 10 minutes into the movie, Louise, she was okay. But and directed. I mean, it looked like a movie that was directed. It's just the story. I don't understand what the message is or what they were trying to tell me in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's all it came down to, is just... And Barry Levinson. Is there a longer version of this movie? Is this a condensed version? We just sort of moved. It wasn't even a slice of life. It was like... Because sometimes Jerry seemed like he wasn't Rory didn't seem mentally capable of doing anything.
Yeah.
But then he was the smartest guy at the end of the movie.
I know. Yeah. I mean... Yeah, he seemed like he turned and got some brains towards the end of the movie. Like he sort of wrapped it all up.
Yeah. Because in the beginning, you think about like, okay, so we go to the basketball game once we found out it was a sports movie.
Right.
For some reason. And we never find out if Jerry was ever a sport player or just liked basketball, but then all of a sudden had one surgery and now he's on the Golden State Warriors. That barring.
Right.
We're at the game and, it's like... Jerry goes to Rory, it's like, oh, Martin, which one's he? He's the one that says Martin. Oh, right. So it's like, can Rory not read?
Yeah, because and you sort of accept it a little bit, just because he's had this traumatic, life-altering event. So maybe he's just slow and like he can't recognize things, but I guess over time,
1 year, 2 months. I have no idea how long. Then it was Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, and how did Jerry know Martin? And they can obviously just get in anywhere.
Yeah.
They needed tickets to the game, but he obviously didn't need a ticket just to get into practice.
Yeah, you could just like walk right into the basketball. It feels like this was. It definitely feels like there were two drafts of this script.
Yeah. There
was the basketball movie that followed Jerry, maybe a broken, high school player, who then rises to become a player. Mm-hmm. Then there was another script, like, what if this is about a character piece? What if this is about broken people redeeming themselves? All right. Without any rewrites, they just swapped, they shuffled it like a deck of cards. There's your movie.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah. I think they another sort of, they want a bunch of different moments and a bunch of different characters that I think this is sort of a movie that would get made in the 80s, and certain 80s movies like this, sort of quote-unquote character drama, did get made really well subsequently after this. But this one is just, I think it wants to have that story of that waitress with the heart of gold who falls for these two guys, and she's just sort of conflicted about a lot of things, but and she came in, like you said, halfway through, so we really didn't. All we knew about her was she kissed Rory because he was on the mistletoe or whatever, thanked him, and then said, "Well, you're crippled, I can't be with you," and then went with Jerry, and then went back. For some reason, went back with him. But there were no moments of her, of that like decision making moments where she's like, you know what, my heart is really with Jerry. It was just like, oh, I'm with you now.
Yeah. Because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm dating him now. You met him like twice or so. Like, right. There was no character building. Yeah, and so it just. When these things would happen, I'm like, well, where did that come from? Everything would come out of left field. Yeah. They wanted a lot of stories. The heart story with Jerry and the young prostitute. Yeah. It's like that was the weirdest. I was like, what was that? And he was expecting her to be something different. I don't know, but it was just. I mean, if you really look at it, this is a depressing sort of group of people. Yeah. Jerry becomes an NBA star? I don't know. Within 1 month or 2 years? After one surgery? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. It's just, this movie didn't know what the core of this movie was. Like, opening up with this, like, attempted suicide grabs you. You're like, okay, we're going to follow why this guy, and he's going to rebuild his life, look back. No. Yeah. They sort of like the opening with the terrible title sequence. They rebuild Rory, and that's it. Yeah. Like, you don't really even find out why. No one really asks, and it's just sort of like, we never find out anything about his past life, nothing really about his current life. None of the characters have any sort of development, and then, like you said, Jerry's really in love with the child prostitute. I mean, they're the same age. She just looked really young. Yeah. And then her pimp, I guess, from San Francisco comes to collect her. Like, that was just really... All of that was just really confusing. Yeah. Yeah, totally. But they tied it up, thankfully, at the end, but, Yeah, I guess. I mean, is that what that was? I mean, he came in and they tripped him up, and Jerry, Rory, and I expected a third panel. It's still a Polo. Just like everyone's just saying words. Like, what is happening? I think often, maybe too many times in this movie, you and I are like, what is happening? Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah, the pimp and the. It's just, I don't know what that story was. Like, Jerry with the young prostitute. Like, if you, I guess you had to give him some sort of romantic whatever. But if you really got rid of that story, it didn't really add or anything. And I was kind of confused when he came to I think he beat him up. But I guess because was it a ring that was headed into it? But then did he get beaten up because he confronted him at the bar, and then he's like, I'm not going to do any of those things. Right. Like, I don't understand, like... Yeah, that... Like, you could have gotten rid of the whole child prostitute story. I keep saying it's child prostitute. She was like 30 when she made this film. She looked so young. That didn't add any dimension to his character at all, other than... Maybe that one line where he says, I don't like to be alone. But he's always at the bar, and I don't know. This was one of those, like, this movie, I would definitely say, of the 12 movies we've watched in the 1980s, everyone stands out as being completely different.
Yeah.
than the one before. Like, there are no movies, I mean, maybe a theme here and there, but none of the movies are the same in anything.
No.
I mean, we even have some high-profile people behind some of the movies. Is about, really, I mean, we had Michael Caine in a movie, then, Barry Levinson wrote this one, Dick Donner directed. Then you just have all these people that are, like, big names for the most, other than The Apple. That was probably the one that didn't have much of anything behind it. And I don't know, it was just so... And it's not like you go into it, it's like, oh, Dick Donner, I'm expecting greatness or something. It was competently directed. It was just, there's no, like, any story would have been a good story. The story of the guy trying to kill himself, great. Jerry's story would have been really interesting. Just Jerry's story owning the bar with, being in love with the prostitute. That's an interesting story. The guys in the bar, but they don't give you any of that. Right. They just sort of, and then all of a sudden, there's a superstar basketball player who all of a sudden becomes his friend for a couple scenes and helps him rehab.
Yeah.
And that sort of just goes, like, I don't understand what this movie was or what it was trying to be.
Yeah, I don't either. It was trying to be a lot of different things, I think, and it just didn't focus on, like, one sort of thread. And, like, having Barry Levinson be a co-writer on it, from his work, I would think he would do better. There are some touches in there that, some of the more dramatic things, I think, sort of worked on their own, but they weren't earned. And that's the whole thing. They just weren't earned. I mean, like, the dramatic moment where Louise, talks about, coming back to Rory. I thought if you'd earned that moment, if we had, like, developed her character and their relationship a little better, then you can earn that, and that would be a nice moment. But these sort of moments just come out of nowhere, and it's like you have 2 hours, but you have 2 hours with a lot of moments. You could get rid of a lot of the story that really didn't add anything and just, like, focus on these characters, and keep Wings and
Stinky
Blue Lewis or whatever in the Stinky in the background, because that's what they were. They were sort of like provided levity and sort of the Greek chorus to the whole thing, but it's just not. It's just, there was no cohesion to it. Was no through line. There's no storyline that you could like grapple onto, because every time you thought, all right, maybe Rory's story, and then Jerry comes in, and then all of a sudden, like, he's with the Warriors and he's not there, and for some reason he's like, oh no, I don't want to see the guys. And then we find out it's because he thought he'd be crippled again.
Like, if he went to the bar, it would cripple him again, and then you had her. It's like, well, I don't want to be with a cripple. It's like, what is the message?
I know. It's like, but I work in a cripple bar.
But it's also like, it's that weird thing. It's like, because none of these people, like, it's that weird thing, other than maybe probably the blind guy, like, all these people, like, were in sort of something that happened to them. So, like, the idea of being crippled, it's like, well, all these people, these are accident-based things. So it's not like this was just, like, some bar, and then all of a sudden someone would show up with a neck brace, like, who's a new employee. It's like, do they just hire people that are broken? Like, I don't get what Max's bar is.
I know. Or do you, like, in order to get in here, like, you have to be...
Right.
You have to have some sort of handicap. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Max has a heart attack. We find out Max owns the bar, who was there. Has a heart attack, and we're like, oh man, what's going to happen? Let's buy the bar. But then Max is still there. So they buy the bar and give it back to Max? Like, they were like, I think what it was, just they wanted to do every idea in this movie. And just like, it's like, we're going to explore every idea in this movie.
I know. And that's... I get it. I mean, I've fallen victim to it. It's just, you can expand on ideas with, centralized, focused story on just a few characters. But you don't have to, like, invite, like, the whole city of San Francisco to come in and like play a part. You know, it's I just felt like, you know, they were just throwing a lot of things in this pot of soup, and it's like, it's just not.
And it's almost like, well, one of these things will work out in editorial. We'll just leave everything in. It's 2 hours.
Right.
It's like, you know, they almost like shot, like, everything feels like they left all the cut scenes in.
Yeah.
Like, all the deleted scenes are in there, and it's like, oh, because normally you watch a deleted scene going, I like the scene, but it doesn't add to the film. They just left everything in there.
Yeah.
Like, they went with the first assembly, and Dick Donner was like, there's no Superman. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I just love the idea, though, that how we're picturing him, who was probably super professional in this movie, is just, he's fired from Superman. He's like, whatever.
I know.
Just sitting on the set, do whatever you guys want. I don't care. But yeah, I don't, and I imagine if it's based on a book, I'm sure the book's really interesting, because I'm sure you can explore all these characters, but I feel like they cherry-picked the book.
Yeah. No, I'm sure they did.
Or it's one of those things, the book is just about the guy, you find out about this guy's story, he tries to kill himself and then he rehabs. It's like, well, that's an interesting thing. Yeah. And then they just butchered it.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe other things were added, like, I don't know, Stinky and all those guys. It's probably, but...
Well, the weird part is, like, we're at our Christmas party, and then all of a sudden Stinky starts crying. He's blind, but, you know, he starts crying. It's like, why? Why is he crying? Like, is he happy? And why is he happy? I mean, he's got his girlfriend who's Shirley Temple, but older, which I thought was a weird line.
Right.
And then at the very end, they try to wrap up stories that I had already forgotten about. Like, you know, because, you know, Jerry gets beaten up, the child prostitute, who's 30, leaves, but she's back on the street, and Rory sees her as they're about to go see the basketball game, and then gives her money, and it's like, all right, I guess so she's back on the street. I didn't care about her in the first place. She didn't have any story. And then we see, what was his character name? Then we go back to the basketball game.
Yeah.
And then the pimp that beat up Jerry's back in town.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Rory trips him and he breaks an arm, goes downstairs. It pretty much could have murdered him.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad fall.
And then somehow it's like, redemption. It's like, I had already forgotten about those characters. Those characters didn't
they had no, like, if you just ended it on a, you know, one of those.
It's like, he did it. Our friend he finally accepts us. We accept him. He's got his dream.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
He's got the guys in the stands. He's okay with that now. They all have a dream. They're all living their dreams. Fine.
Yeah.
Enter pimp. It's like, wait.
Yeah, because it's like Jerry could have went to the bar, gave his impassioned speech about, look, I was nervous about coming back because I have my own issues.
Right. They
all support him by closing Max's and go sees the game. He comes out to the court, credits, everything's redeemed.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, because all of a sudden I was like, we have 3 minutes left.
Right.
Why is she back? Is this going to mean something to us? No. We felt like we needed closure on this. Like, no, I'm good.
That was a studio note.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
whatever happened to...
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we cut that scene because we didn't need it. No, you need to put that back in. Right. It's a pickup. Oh, bring her back.
Yeah, because if you just cut from the bus stop to the game...
Yeah, right. Max coming out. I'm closing for the first time.
Yeah.
They go to the game?
Then you go to the game. Cut out the scene with the... Yeah, it was not a short scene either, because she was just like, oh, I remember you. Will you give me $50? Well, we know.
Yeah.
If she's on the street, that's...
Yeah, it went bad. It's
still, yeah.
Like, you could have had that scene of them on the bus, and as they're leaving, they see her.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
Right.
Sad. But even that, I still didn't need that.
Yeah, exactly. Still, it's like you cut that shot out.
I don't need this movie to be any longer than this movie needed to be. That, I mean, it's an hour and 53 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's long.
Every minute.
Yeah, it's just, I'm like, because along the way, you're just like, what journey are we supposed to be on here? Who are we supposed to be with? And what is this character? Like, I don't know. I don't really know what Rory's thrust is. I know more about Jerry. You know, he's trying to be this basketball player.
Yeah.
But Rory, I mean, I guess he's just trying to, like, find a way or find his way.
But any backstory on Roy would have been,
Yeah.
like, even just through a couple lines or something. It's like, oh, I was married once. Oh, okay. Like, even just something, but... And I think that's what it was. So, like, you know, for the first 10 minutes of the movie, or 30, hard to say,
Whatever.
we are following Rory. So we're like, okay, here's our guy. Then we go to the basketball game, and it's like, oh, we're at a basketball game. Then we're, you know, in the locker room almost, and then there's a one-on-one challenge, and it's like, well, that's not going to happen. Then they play one-on-one, so Jerry and the basketball player are playing one-on-one. We're like, is this a sports movie now? Then we don't see him again. Then we have like another hour and a half.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden that guy comes back to help Jerry become a basketball player. We're like, so it's a sports movie again?
I know.
I think that's because he just kept changing what the movie was.
Yeah.
Halfway through, it's like, it's a sports movie now. Because it's a basketball movie. Sort of.
Yeah. I get trying to like make sports, the basketball, make it more exciting than just like a drama inside a bar.
Yeah.
But, I just felt like there was these stories that were pulling
Mm-hmm.
us in different directions. The story in the bar is a way different story than like the story about an athlete who, has a knee issue, fixes it, goes to play semi-pro ball, and then like within a month or two gets into the NBA.
With an injury? A
Right.
pre-existing injury?
Pre-existing injury and maybe this is like their D-League team or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like he goes to the Warriors. Like,
Yeah.
he could have gone anywhere. But
Yeah.
Maybe the Warriors had, because Martin
Yeah.
got him on,
No, he's really good.
on the team.
You mean the guy who's never played?
Right.
Who has a pre-existing injury? Yeah, let's put him on the team.
And like, how did they know each other? It's like, what?
Like then you have to just like make the assumptions like, oh, he goes to the games all the time and just gives that one player shit.
Yeah, but then the player goes, all right, you give me shit so much.
Yeah.
Let's play one-on-one
Yeah.
tomorrow here
Yeah.
before my practice.
Right.
Okay.
And then that'll just end it? Like,
Right.
so you guys friends? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's just like, security's like, no, he's like, no, let him through. Why are you razzing us about the game all the time? You
Yeah.
know, and it's like, what do you care? It's a guy in the stands. What is this relationship?
Yeah, and it's like, I'll give those leaps of faith of those things of like, well, they wouldn't have let him back and he wouldn't have had this guy. Those things, I just let those, it's movie stuff.
Yeah.
But then it's also just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, more than like, not actually having, like him just, come on the courts tomorrow, we'll play. Well, they're not just gonna let you, some dude just
Right.
walk in. But then you just sort of like, it's all set up.
You could have said, yeah, he said, hey, this guy is going to be here. Just show him in.
If Jerry and Rory show up, because apparently they're best friends now.
Exactly. So yeah, I give that leap of faith. But my thing is, if there's some backstory between how they know each other and how like a player like that would entertain him to come play him one-on-one, that could be something interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's an opportunity for you to say, oh, this is how they know each other. Even if it's just a small little thing.
Yeah.
This is how Jerry is enterprising enough to sort of get in with this team, But I don't know if I, want to believe but want to buy into the fact that he's just a heckler.
Yeah.
And he's tired of him heckling, so, okay, come play me one-on-one.
Yeah.
I guess it could happen, but it's just,
It's definitely something that would be set up more in a comedy movie.
Yeah.
Like something you'd be like, all right, that's how this movie's going to play out.
For sure.
It's like, okay, that's how, those movies like, what was it, Angel in the Outfield.
Yeah.
Or any of those, it's like those, there was another one that was pretty good, but it's like, okay, now the kid's the pitcher. That's what this movie is, because all of a sudden, this kid has a magic arm. Great. Air Bud. Great, the dog's on the basketball team.
Right.
But I can buy that, it's like, fine. How angry would you have been if you saw this in film school? Film school, John. as I like to call it. Film school's like, all right, we're going to watch a Richard Donner film today. Ooh.
Right.
How exciting.
I'm like, why do we take this one? And what they would say about it, why they would be showing it. Because they would have to sort of justify why we'd be showing it. Maybe it's because, hey, these are the story structure that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But, I would have been pretty angry because I'm paying big money for film school. So I'm thinking these
You're
classes...
more angry, like, look, I paid a lot of money and you're showing me inside moves.
So that would be me and my classmates, because we often were just like, whew, we're paying how much per unit? And...
I better learn a lesson after this movie.
Exactly. So we sort of scrutinized what we were being shown. But well, you would think, if they say inside moves, you go, oh, I've never heard of it. Maybe this is his...
Yeah. Is this his student film?
Yeah. Avant-garde sort of piece, or his passion piece that I haven't heard of. And you go, no, this is it.
I think that's what's so sad is that it's sort of like the John Huston Phobia movie.
Yeah.
Like, it came down to, like, anyone could have made this film. Like, it seems weird. It's not like... I don't even really know what I would know would be, like, Richard Donner's style, per se, But, honestly, like, we could have watched that and saw the director's name and gone, yeah, I have no idea who that is. And still would have been the exact same movie. There was nothing... flary about this. There was nothing. It was just it was a TV movie, basically. Some just generic, here's stuff. Here's something we're going to put on at 8 o'clock. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah,
I mean, basically that's what it it was. It may have been like a Saturday afternoon movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't like, I don't know if there's a Dick Donner signature, but it just doesn't. It could have been Jamie Donner. It's just that it's not. It's like, okay, but from what the trivia of him just sort of doing something that he wanted to be simple and just obviously he wanted his workload to be simple, so he's probably just like you said, just all right, action, cut. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. When we're at a table with like 5 people, we're going to need different... I just either move the camera or just focus on one person.
Right.
I'm not doing a setup per actor. Okay.
I know. Because it's like, you would think that, as a director, because the director's king, in the movies, that he would say, okay, we need a cohesive story still. I'm putting my name on it. We need to have a cohesive story. Certain things we just don't need.
Yeah. Could this have been saved in editorial?
I think so.
Yeah. Because of all the material we saw?
Yeah, all the material we saw, I think you could definitely direct away certain of the ancillary things and characters that were there that didn't need to be there. Him being, I don't know, maybe he was super invested, but him being Richard Donner, a little more invested, he could have shot some more scenes, or demanded that there be a little more scenes of backstory or sort of texture for the characters that we supposed to care about, like Jerry and Rory.
Yeah.
To really see what makes them tick, because we're really following those two people in this. So, dial down the stinking, all those
Waynes
guys.
And Blue Lewis. And I love that I know... The one thing that this movie did is I know everyone's name. There are some movies we watch, it's like, I couldn't tell you a character's name. But they didn't, I mean, they did say Jerry and Rory about 2,000 times.
A lot.
But the other characters, like, I kind of remember their names and everything.
Right. Yeah. So I think it could use another edit, and definitely could have been helped.
Yeah.
I think to ultimately save it, you probably have to shoot a little more to really round out these characters.
You have to pick a person to be.
Yeah.
Like, is this Jerry's story or Rory's story?
Right.
I mean, you need someone to come into the bar to introduce us to everyone and be the person we get introduced to everyone because he's the new guy. But then it either has to be 100% Rory's rebuild story or Jerry's forgotten dream story.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be both.
Yeah, and it was trying to play both sides, and it was both, and maybe in editorial they realized that, John Savage, he does a good job, but his character I don't think is that strong.
No.
So it's like the clear goal for him, and it doesn't always have to be this, but the clear goal for him wasn't as strong as it was. Oh, I want to play basketball. I want to do this. I want to be on a team. Oh, then I'm on a team.
Yeah.
And you see that trajectory, but with Jerry, it's sort of flat. You may get some sort of like hills here, but no real peaks. And so, we're just sort of like, okay, we're still with Rory because he's on screen for a lot. And
he's there all the time.
Right. And he, attempted suicide, and, this is his sort of, comeback story, or this is a story of him, the aftermath.
Yeah.
So we start with him, we assume that we're going through the story with him, and we do, but it's just, what is it, everything that happens to him ultimately is really sad and really disappointing, and that's fine, but then you have a character in Jerry, who realizes his dreams and his goals, and the basketball player ends up funding his surgery so he can come back and do all this, and then everyone rallies around him, and sort of Rory sort of lost in the fray, loses Louise, loses a lot of things in this story, and it's just like, all right, well, when does he wrest that from, wherever he lost it to, and get it back? And I think maybe they were trying to have that manifest itself in the scenes that we didn't need with the prostitute and the pimp, but it's just like, and the scene where she's like, Louise is like, I told Jerry I'm your lover, so now we're together, and it's like, why? Like, there was no decision about that.
And it's like they would tell us things that it's like, that was something I'd rather have seen.
Yeah.
It's exactly. Like they did the opposite of a lot of things, where it's like, let me tell you about this guy. That would have been something I would have liked to see, as opposed to you telling me about.
Exactly. Like they say,
tell, don't show, right? No.
Right. Exactly. Get mixed up. But it's exactly like her decision to come back. Like, we would like to see that. I'd like to see an encounter with Jerry where she's like, you know what? I got to go back to Rory. Not, all right, I'm back. I'm with you. I told him that I'm with you. Like,
but you'll totally accept me because you're crippled.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
But yet you'll show us the fact that she's like, oh, I won't be with you because you're crippled. Like, you'll go and show us that scene.
Yeah.
But you won't show us the scene with Jerry when she has that moment of when she's conflicted, and she's like, you know what, I'm making a decision. I'm going with Rory.
Yeah.
Because of whatever that encounter was, that would have helped us understand Rory's story.
Yeah.
More,
because like she's like washing his hair and doing all this stuff.
She's doing all
Rory,
this stuff.
Then it's like, no, I've been seeing Jerry. You guys haven't had a conversation. How long have you been seeing? Like, this is so weird.
I know. It's just like, but I don't want to be your lover. But then she's doing all this stuff, and I'll spend every moment
with living together.
Right. It's just like, I've been seeing Jerry. When? Yeah. So it's wanted to be a lot, and I think there's some earnest things in here, but ultimately, the whole movie, I just didn't know where I was supposed to be. Even when I did think, all right, we're at the game, he's accepted them. They told him, we put all our dreams in you, and it's sort of this symbiotic relationship on the court and in the stands, and then the pimp comes in, and you're just like, okay,
we have 3 minutes left.
What was the pimp story again? And then he trips him, But I don't know what that's supposed to do.
Yeah. Like,
and then...
Because he wasn't there for Jerry. He was just there for the game.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do... Like, I thought it was going to be one of those things, like he was going to see him play going...
I did too.
Oh, wow. Or
too.
something, but like, why is he there? Because it'd be one thing if he was there to beat him up.
Yeah.
But no, he had nothing to do with anything. So in other words, this forgotten gem should still stay forgotten. The Dick Donner forgotten.
I think in his canon, his catalog, I think this sort of goes into the bottom of the Dick Donner catalog.
He's like, yeah, I don't remember that movie.
Yeah.
Just that, like, if you can even find, I love that, like, of the movies that I want to see, half the time I can't find them streaming or anything.
Yeah.
This one, Dick Donner's like, really?
Right.
This is the one you... I have this whole catalog, but that's the one you're like, it's free.
Exactly.
So I guess we both agree we should, if you want to see it, but you could vault it.
You could vault it, yeah.
And there's enough other Dick Donner movies to watch.
100%. 100%.
I'm sure some of his, I'm not sure if he went to film school or not, but I'm sure some of those are probably better than this one.
Yeah.
Because obviously he put passion into student projects. This was just I got fired from Superman 2.
Yeah.
It felt like he got fired from
Right, exactly. Especially with the Superman pinball machine in the bar.
I'm not angry.
Yeah.
And the opening scene is a guy about to fly.
Yeah.
And then he hits a car. It's like, man, he's still angry about Superman 2.
You know, in the book, he tried to commit suicide in a completely different way.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
Like, no.
Oh, he's going to hang himself? No. He's going to fly. No, but that's not... He's going to fly. Like the way I made Christopher Reeves fly in the first one. Man, he just brings up Superman anytime.
Exactly. I'm not Christopher Reeves. Savage has to say that every day.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly, they're just like fighting the whole time.
Wow.
But it was a fun movie to end 1980 on because it's been a crazy 12 months of movies.
Absolutely.
And in 4 months that we've watched them, but it's been a crazy year. Yeah, time doesn't mean anything. Like this movie, time doesn't mean anything. I'm excited about 81.
Yeah,
1981, like that, the official start of the 80s movies.
Yeah, and then we just it starts to get better.
Well, I mean, we've seen the movies I picked.
Well,
better.
Maybe not in the movies we're watching, but the other.
But I mean, you know, I like the idea. I mean, these were just movies that were at the theater that just sort of disappeared. Not like they weren't bombs, they just sort of like didn't latch onto it. And as if you saw, for my list, which I'll put here, all the movies that came out in December 1980 was like...
There were hits.
Nothing but hits. And it was like, December was stacked. I mean, like, Stir Crazy, 9 to 5, Any Which Way You Can, Jazz Singer. Like, you're just going through every week and you're like, every one of these is a movie. Like, these are like movies that are still being talked about.
There's a lot. There's when you send me the list, I can believe how many just in 1 month.
And you see it, you're like, oh, I know that came out in 1980. Yeah, no, all these came out in 1 month. This isn't all of 1980. This is 1 month of 1980. It's an impressive list.
You just keep going back to the theater. You're like, I gotta go back and I gotta see this and see that.
Like two come out, you're like, I guess we'll go Saturday and Sunday?
Right. I know.
It's only $1 to go to the movies. I'm guessing. I mean, it was 1980. It had to be close to like $1.50 or something
like that.
It was
I think maybe.
I think it was like $3 or
$3
when I started really going to the movies, and it stayed like that for the longest time.
Yeah,
and now it's $22.
And then it was like $11. I think in the 80s, maybe the late 80s when they were like, whoa, or like Japan was doing like $11. Yeah. Like, wow, they're gouging people. Now you're right, it's like $22.
And you're like, what did you see? Transformers.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you on our 1980s journey.
Yes.
And
thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, and like, subscribe. And 81 will be around the corner shortly. We might do one or two things in between. Prepping 1981. Oh yeah, I should go. Hey yo, John.
Hey yo, Ro. You'll get it when you see the.
If you watch the movie, it's pretty genius what we just did. And Thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
Thank you, John, for this lovely
you,
1980s. And until 1981, we'll see you.
Take it easy.
We need cases of High West.
Right?
High West, send us some crap.
I missed that.